much. Good evening to all of you. I'm very delighted to welcome you to this PE talk. This is a space of exchange, this reflection on physical education in primary school. I would like to, Bruno, il y a...
Rosemary, perhaps you can open your microphone because we don't listen, we don't hear you.
But that's open. And if you can put only not the text of the.
But I can hear, Rosemary, what you are saying.
Yeah, and but Bruno, I don't need you don't need to put the note of the.
Yeah, Rosemary, what you are saying.
Yeah, and but Bruno, I don't need you don't need to put the note.
Rosemary,
thank you very much. But Bruno, you don't need to put the note. Thank you very much. No.
Can you, Bruno, hear the speakers?
Yeah. It's okay now.
No, I think that you should change the
you have to put only the slides.
The screens, the monitors.
Yeah.
You are now sharing Rosemary's notes.
Everything.
You are probably working on two screens, so you should share the other one.
I think so. That's okay. No.
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 I would do it again. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But I will continue so that we don't spend too much time. So I would like to thank you to participate in this. Thank you very much. This is good now. So at this PE talk, and a special thanks to my colleagues, representative of the different regions of Europe, who are going to present the situation in their region and also make some proposal for good practice. Their expertise and professionality view is important for our discussion. I'm Rosemary Repon. I'm the past president of EUPEA, and to share the PE talk, I'm with Bruno Cremonesi. He's member of the executive committee, and he will assume the logistic, but also, of course, participate as PE teacher, as he is a PE teacher. Discussing and reflecting about PE in primary school is relevant, as we believe that this is the route for the development of an active and physically educated citizen. Let me briefly, this is the next slide, thank you. Let me briefly introduce our association for the one who are not very close to the EUPEA. The European Physical Education Association is the umbrella association of National Physical Education Association, which also bring together a number of institutions who are particularly involved in voluntary school sport or research in physical education. For 33 years now, we have been working for quality physical education in the field of teaching, teacher training, and in the context of active school as well. Our motto is no education without physical education. And what we are aiming to is to enlarge the association of a powerful lobby for more and better physical education in Europe. We thank you for participating tonight at this PE talk, because this is a contribution to this action. As early as 1991, physical education in primary school was already identified as one of the difficulties in providing quality physical education. The objectives in education, in politics, in health have not changed much. In some countries, progress are evident. In some other, regression occurs. And in some other one, this is just the status quo. This consideration is not only made within the framework of the EUPEA. This is but also in very well-recognized international institutions as UNESCO. This is just to show that this concern is not only the concern of our association, but also of bigger institutions like the UNESCO. And our concern and our action is in line with the Charter of UNESCO from 1978. To prepare this P talk, we made a survey, and I would like just to give you some of the results. It is not, of course, exhaustive, and this is only indicative. The regional representative will look more closely to the result for the region. It will be also interesting to see the commonalities and difference between the region in Europe. So I just present a very brief overview. The first thing is that we had 29 countries answering to our survey. And what we have as result, we see that a third of the countries have 3 hours of physical education per week, a third 2 hours, and then we have 14% between 2 and 3 hours, 11% having only 1 hour, and in one country we have 5 hours a week. So this is a daily physical education lesson. Who is teaching? So this is more than 50% in the country are generalists teaching physical education at the primary school. So we see that this concern is really important. Then we have 26% of the countries where generalists are working with PE, sometimes as a support, sometimes alternatively. And then we have 14% of the country where we have PE teachers teaching all the time at the primary school level. The facilities, for me, it was a good, surprising, I would say, answer. 2/3 of the answer were saying that they had good to even very good facilities, and 1/3 have bad facilities. Of course, to make it more interesting, we should cross the different answer, but it was not the idea of this survey now. And then the assessment as well. Good news for me, 80% of the countries are saying that they have an assessment in physical education at the primary school, and 20% now. What we don't know, of course, is if the marks count in the academic average. So we don't have this answer. So now I will give the word to my colleague who are going to present the result from their region, making brighter information about this, and also presenting the place. I will start with Suzanne Maron. Suzanne, she's the EUPEA board member. She's working as primary teacher educator at the Dublin City University. She's representing the Irish primary PE teacher, and today also the Central Europe region. So thank you for your participation, and I give you the floor, Suzanne.
Thank you, Rosemary. And I will share my screen. Whoops. Can you see it, Bruno? My screen?
Not yet.
Oh, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you everyone, and welcome, and thank you for putting time out tonight to listen to us. In relation to Central Europe, we had 7 responses, and you can see the spread of countries there that responded. We did have 1 late response yesterday evening from a 3rd one from England, but I wasn't able to include it because I had the work prepared. So that was just to highlight the responses. There's varied practices. Some and most had common practices, which was interesting, which we will look at later. And there were some outliers. The one example we're going to focus on from 2 countries is Scotland and Ireland, because there will be a relatively new focus for a direction of PE, and that will be later. Thank you. I will move on now to the next presenter.
So this is Yanis. I think, I don't know if Bruno is here. Yanis, this is your turn, please. The floor
Okay.
is yours.
About the screen, Bruno, please. It's me, Ioannis Griparis, EUPEA's board member, representative of the Southeast Europe region. And I would like to inform you that I had taught also in primary school for 30 years. I must tell the thank you for our collaboration in this presentation to Bilzana Popesca, a board member of EUPEA and vice president of Southeast Europe region. We would like to do some comments about the questionnaire of PE in primary school from our region after our discussions with the EUPEA's PE Association in our region about it in several meetings. In Southeast region, the following countries are included: Albania, Bulgaria, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, Cyprus, Greece, Kosovo, North Macedonia, Serbia, and Turkey. Thank you. I will continue in the next step. Thank you.
Thank you, Yanis. So I would like to ask Peter now to go
Hello,
on.
everyone.
Thank you, Peter.
My name is Peter, and I'm the Central East representative of EUPEA. So I'm representing 4 countries, and I'm going to share the screen so that share the screen.
Green, I think, the place.
Can you see that?
Yes, we see it. Thank you.
Okay. So I just wanted to show where the center of Europe is, and on the right-hand side, you can see the 4 countries that we are representing: Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. And you can see the population of those 4 countries. Czech Republic, 10 million, Slovakia, our past brother, or actually brother now, 5 million, Hungary, almost the same as Czech Republic, and Poland, the biggest country in our region, 38 million, which is the 5th largest country in Europe. As for the questionnaire, I actually picked up some more information that I can get back a little bit later. But all the Central European countries recognize the importance of physical education at school, and testing is actually important. This was not a question, so maybe I will come back to this later. But our top students from our region was 400% Hungary, with 5 lessons a week. So they have daily physical education, and yeah, it seems that also the facilities and also yeah, other concentration of PE is put the most in Hungary, but we can go back to the results of the table a little bit later. I will now give the word to the other speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So this is Viviana from the south. Thank you. Viviana, you are mute.
Good evening to everybody. I will try to share the screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, good evening to everybody. I'm Viviana Zito, and I represent the South of Europe, EUPEA South of Europe. I represent Portugal, Italy, Spain, France, and Malta. And this is kind of a schema that I did to resume or to resume all the questionnaire that the representative of the countries made it. So as you can see on the first column, almost all countries have an average of 2 hours of physical education in primary school. Some like Portugal and Spain or France have also like 3 hours of physical education in primary school, but mostly depend. In reality, these numbers can change, depend on the age of the students, or, for example, depend of the school organization, of the region organization. So it can change. In the central column, you can see that in Portugal, for example, the physical education is made by a generalist, supported by a specialist. But in some countries, like, for example, in France, and is sometimes supported by some instructors from local club. In Italy, is the first year that, for example, starting from 9 and 10 years old of primary school, PE is taught by a specialized PE teacher. Going to the facilities, here there are some who says that overall they have bad facilities, enough facilities or good facilities, but once again it mostly depends of the region of the school that you are teaching, so this can change from school to school. About curriculum, all countries have a curriculum to follow, and of course they have assessment, a formative and a summative assessment. So overall, of course, this is a generalized resume, but and change from country to country and from school to school. And that's all. I will talk a little bit more when I will have a little bit more time.
Thank you very much. And Heidi, for the Nordic country, please.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to listen to us. So I'm representing the Nordic countries, and I am from Finland. We have answers from Finland and Sweden only this time. And we have very similar systems in Sweden and Finland in regards to the basic characteristics of PE teaching in primary schools. And we seem to have 2 hours per week in most of the schools. In Finland, sometimes there is a possibility to increase with one lesson. So some schools may have 3 lessons per week. Lesson means 45 minutes, so it's actually 90 minutes per week per student. The curriculum and facilities are good, both in Finland and Sweden. And we find that there are good practices for assessment also, both formative and summative assessment for low grades. Problem is that in Finland, the lessons are taught by generalists for all of the years. And in Sweden, there is a little bit difference there when they have both PE teachers and generalists, and even some recreation educators teaching PE in the lower grades. Thank you. I will continue with more.
Thank you very much, Heidi. So we will go to the second round. We will appreciate if you can maybe give some characteristic of or highlight some results that you had. And I would like to ask Susan to start with this. Thank you very much.
Great. So I am now going to highlight some of the questions, but I want to reinforce that these were individual responses. And in some cases, I think we have to question, are they supported with research? So that's the first thing I want to say. But in relation to question 1, hopefully you can see it here. Now I think I'm going to have to move this up. Yeah. So how many hours of PE are students required to have according to the law? Up at the top, the dark green, and in the dark green on the bottom, I have tried to summarize the most common. So 2 hours per week was average. But question 2 asked how many hours of physical education are students required to have question 2, what do they actually have? And I've been very honest and put down 48 minutes for Ireland, because that is what our most recent research has shown, even though it is 1 hour a week. So if we were to take everyone's what they are having, I think we could knock a certain amount of minutes off, because I don't think we're that far very different to any other country. So our big question that I'm left with when I show the range from 48 minutes to 33 is how much of this is actually PE, how much of it is physical activity, how much of it is running around a circuit. So we do need to probe what do we mean by actually the experiences of the children when we quantify it. So that's just showing you the range from Central Europe. Question 3, who's responsible for teaching PE? Well, there's a mix of generalists and specialists, with some coaches from Central Europe being reported. In relation to question 4, is generalist teachers, are they supported by specialists? And the answer to this is, which is I found interesting, was the majority said no. In England, there seems to be a mixture, and in Switzerland, depending on what canton you come from or you're teaching in. But it is interesting that no, but we are aware in reality from research, there is a range of who teaches it happening. And then most generalist teachers in Central Europe are teaching all subjects. Scotland and England may be an exception here, but they teach half. So they are the 5 questions that I decided to zone in on. And I think the issues that have come out for me in this is, you know, and I think it's something that we have to consider is what is PE and what is physical activity and what is sport, and how are people categorizing PE and how much PE children are getting a week, and then what is the research saying. So that summarizes Central Europe. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanne, and thank you for the. I think we need to be critical reading the answer, as you said. There are individual answers. Sometimes we had 3 or 4 answers from the same country, but sometimes only 1. And as you said, we have to go a bit further and know what does it mean. I think in this situation, we consider PE as the discipline in the curriculum, not speaking about the content. So you're right. Thank you very much. So I would like now to ask Yanis to Southeast. Thank you.
Yes, Bruno, have I have the screen my presentation?
We see you. That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Compulsory PE at the primary education in all countries at the Southeast region. 3 lessons per week in all grades in primary in Bulgaria, North Macedonia, and Serbia. 2 lessons per week in all grades in primary in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Kosovo. 2 lessons per week in lower primary, and 3 lessons per week in upper primary in Croatia and Albania, and 3 lessons in lower primary and 2 lessons per week in upper primary in Greece. In the question, who is responsible for teaching PE in primary schools, there are 2 theses. The first one is that in this grade, the holistic development of children is very important, as children are very sensitive. Therefore, it is not just sport element, but also learning through movement and using PE as a tool for learning and development for children. Therefore, they think generalist teachers are needed in terms of their knowledge from child psychology, sport pedagogy, pedagogical approaches in work with children, possibility to integrate PE with other subjects and provide a holistic learning. Why not learning much pro PE? PE is not only the classroom. The second thesis is that all the above about sport pedagogy, pedagogical approaches, child psychology, etc., the PE teachers have as lessons in their studies in the School of PE, physical education, physical activities, and school sports in the university. Indeed, they study the anatomy, physiology, training, rules of the games, and tactics of sports, etc. We believe that it is very dangerous the general teachers teach PE in primary schools without their completely studies about the necessary things, anatomy, physiology, training, etc. Perhaps PE teachers must have additional special education in pedagogy, child development, child psychology for the age of the students in primary schools. The solution for this problem is the ministries of education replace the general teachers who will be retired by PE teachers percentage 10 to 15% to teach PE in primary schools every year. So all primary schools will have PE teachers step by step in few years. By the same way, we will have PE teachers in kindergarten, because knowing the slogan of UNESCO and EUPEA, no education without physical education, Brussels First European Forum, 22 to 23 February 1991, and the formal education begins from kindergarten. Of course, it is better the PE and the kindergarten teachers must cooperate together to do magnificent development for the students. About the column 6, about regarding available facilities, half of the countries reported that they have bad facilities, and half of them reported that they have good facilities. We consider that this is closely related to place of allocation of schools and cooperation with local community. We believe that it will be better with collaboration with the municipalities to share the athletic facilities, which are usually empty in the morning during school time. Using outdoor spaces and swimming pools in the local community also can be part of this solution. Except Kosovo, all other countries have clear curricular instructions and directions. In terms of assessment of PE, 77.8% of the countries have a specific assessment in PE, and 88.8% have an assessment of PE at school level. This means that the most countries have assessment of PE at the schooling level and at the elementary school level. Difference occur in availability of national batteries and the standards for evaluation of fitness level and movement competence of children. In terms of curricular orientations, specific curriculum orientation for PE are noted in 87.5% of the countries, and the curriculum 100%. In this level, we be informed that the countries have curriculum. Of course, we are sure that if finally PE teachers will teach PE in this level, the curriculum will be better than it is now and should be more oriented to children's interest and real needs.
Thank you.
Just several seconds. Not just putting contents that are not interesting for them. Be curriculum for elementary stage of primary PE should be based on movement games and the fundamental movements. Thank you.
Thank you, Yanis. I think that we can also refer, but we can do this after because we have people working also in a project about prime PET. Susan is part of the project as well, and I know that we have colleagues also participating at the PE talk as participant, but also member of this consortium. So this is interesting that some questions are of course relevant for also the PE teacher training. If we teaching or I would say the generalist PE teaching PE in the primary school. So thank you for your remark. I will now give the floor to Peter, please.
Okay, but I would like to share my screen and it says that I'm not allowed to. You cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing.
Oh, it's okay now, Peter. You can do it.
Yeah, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, we see it.
Right. Again, this is our region. Well, maybe I will speak a little bit sometimes from wider point of view and sometimes a little bit more closer, not just describing the table, but I asked my colleagues to give me some more information about the situation in each country. Obviously, the situation in the Czech Republic is clear to me. So the question about the curriculum, we are now in very high process in revising the curriculum, and there is a big change in the curriculum in the Czech Republic going to be. So we are actually discussing also about the change of the concept of physical education in the Czech Republic, and it seems that physical literacy should be much more important in the curriculum framework than it used to be, because in the past the PE was concentrated more on health concepts. Also, IT is coming into physical education and so on. As for the amount of lessons, there are 2 lessons minimum prescribed in the Czech curriculum, and there is possibility for the director of each school to enlarge the amount to up to 3. Development in Hungary, as I said, there are maybe more closer look at the situation there. So the swimming in the curriculum is very much important in Hungary, as you can see. They are concentrating a lot on that topic in the curriculum. There is a new development in compulsory fitness monitoring, so it's about the evaluation. And actually in each country, I will come to that later, testing is one of the issue. So the assessment also from this point of view plays an important role. Hungary's School Sport Federation implements a national pilot program based on active school concept. Initially, there were 80 schools joined the pilot, but this is information a little bit some time ago, so maybe it changed, I don't know. In Slovakia, the National Institute for Education in Slovakia applied for a new project aimed at systemic model curriculum development. So they should systematically develop the curriculum and of PE based on research, which is kind of a new approach, as I was informed. And there are new standards now going to be tested at pilot schools. 2 years ago, the Ministry of Education in Slovakia has announced that the Ministry of Education Sport will try to support delivery of primary PE in schools by PE professionals, and it should make better the quality of schools. So there should be specialists also in the primary part of education. And last physical condition tests of children in Slovak primary school, more than 34,000 children participated. And you can see the result. I don't want to be too long. Development in Poland, a national recommendation on physical education target the general population will shortly be introduced with implementation of sport development program called SDP. Maybe I should highlight the last lines. A dramatic decrease in the level of physical activity is observed among girls in lower secondary school. So this is also the result of assessment in Poland. The age group is characterized by paying particular attention to the active of the peer group. However, sport and physical activity and are not perceived as indicators of attractiveness and so on. To conclude, as I said, all Central European countries recognize the importance of physical education at school, and testing as part of evaluation and assessment plays an important role in each of the country, whereas it's done, of course, a little bit differently. We could get back to that a little bit later. The subject is part of curriculum framework in all 4 countries and is compulsory in primary and lower secondary education through all 4 countries. And there are 2 up to 5 lessons a week, depending on each country. Countries has also stressed the significance of physical activity and sport as beneficial way of using free time. Both formative and summative assessment are used in primary and lower secondary education, with summative assessment being more common. And as regards teachers of physical education, the subject is taught at primary level mostly by generalist or specialist teachers. At lower secondary, specialist teachers of physical education are the norm. And again, the top student from my point of view was Hungary with 5 lessons. According to the responses, also the facilities seem to be the best, but we are just behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Also, thank you for your presentation. And I think it gives us some idea also to continue the reflection, the assessment, the testing. Also, how can we prove this importance of PE, even if we are doing this for quite a long time? And I think going back, it's will be also probably necessary. So I would like to ask Heidi to continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you for everybody sharing. It's really interesting to hear the different situations, and it brings up new thoughts in my head what I would like to share with you. So let's see how I do with this new plan. So first of all, I would like to tell you that there has been a lot of discussion in the society about children's sedentary lifestyle for almost 10-15 years already. And it has been in the center of discussion of politics also lately, because we have had election this year, parliamentary election, and we are actually in the middle of governmental planning. And we have been lucky enough that there has been a lot of discussion in the public in the past half a year. And one of the main topics of the parliamentary plan for the next 4 years is children's activity. And so in that way, we have been very lucky to be able to affect the parliamentary decision makers this spring with the PE talk in our country. And we have had in the past years, we have had programs that have tried to activate young people in schools, but for some reason there has been no focus in increasing PE or the amount of PE or the quality of PE or getting more specialists to teach in the lower grades. But instead, they have started this active school day program about 12 years ago that has the aims to increase the activity of the school day for all students. During the breaks, we have about 15-minute breaks during every lesson in lower grades. And during the breaks, they have traditionally always, students have been outside and playing games. And that is a part where they have been trying to activate the students even more than usual. Also, active learning methods have been implemented in lower schools generally throughout the country through this program. So that is what has been done. But in our opinion, as professional physical educators, we feel that the quality of physical education should be in the center of discussion instead, because we have the training and the pedagogic skills to improve the quality of movement and hopefully to increase the amount of exercise through enjoyment of exercise. So I would like to tell you a little bit more about our curriculum, which we find very thorough, and such a curriculum that could improve the motivation for activeness in students. So the curriculum is focusing on the basics motor skills and perception motor skills in the 1st and 2nd grades, 7th to 8-year-olds. And it's important that everything is done in a group to improve the interaction skills and emotion skills of the students. And that is found to be something that is important for their development as people in general, but also as exercisers in a group in the future. Then 3rd to 6th grade goals of the PE lessons is improving the basic motor skills and bringing more versatility in them, and also guiding the students towards active lifestyle through versatile exercises. So we're bringing lots of different kind of forms of exercise in the lessons, and also training the different components of physical fitness. But mainly the focus is still on social skills and the capacity to develop as a person in the curriculum. And then one of the main skills that we would like, or not skills, but the main things that characteristics that we would like to increase through physical education is the inner motivation for activeness. So becoming a lifelong exerciser is one of the goals, which is not assessed, but it's a main goal. Through that quite thorough curriculum, it is amazing that we still don't have any specialists in the lower grades. We call them lower grades, so primary school from 1st to 6th grade. So we only have the generalists teaching PE. At the moment, we are trying to affect the government so that we could get specialists at least in the 5th and 6th grades, which means the end of the primary years, so that we would get more quality in the PE teaching. One particular thing that I would bring up also is that we have not implemented any fitness monitoring or testing in PE, because we have this system that has started in 2016, which monitors every single 5th grader and 8th grader of Finland in terms of different components of fitness, and we try to follow their fitness level through that nationally. That has been very successful, and it's also incorporated into the how's it called, physical health inspections that they have at school during those years. So we get some results of their health and fitness levels. So that is the maybe the inner kind of view of the Finnish PE teaching at the moment.
Thank you very much, Heidi. I think so we have already some good point to reflect, and also probably to develop in the different country. and the idea of working for this active lifestyle, I think in this with your holistic approach probably is one of the important goals that we have here. But as you said, I think here we need competent teacher. Not that the generalists are not competent as a teacher, but something I think they are missing, even the core part that they should have to be able to really teach PE. So this is important. And then also the monitoring in different regions. I know that there is this monitoring, different one, but maybe it is also something that we could reflect to see what the link that we have between those different monitoring systems and then the development of the PE. So I think we have some work to do. Thank you very much for your insight. This is very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll go to the last part now. This is the.
Excuse me, Rosemary.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Did I miss you?
Yes.
Sorry, Vivi. I'm sorry.
Okay. No problem. I will share the video.
Much. Sorry.
No problem. I will share the video. And now I will speak a little bit about the situation in each country that I represent. Speaking about Spain, physical education at primary school in Spain is faced a series of key challenges as the consequence of a new law, LOMLOE law. This law has been implemented in 2023, and it will be 2022-2023, and it will be implemented also next year. This law defines 5 specific competences like adopt an active lifestyle, regularly practicing physical activity, and so on. And this main competence has the aim this competence is also organized in a way that the curriculum has also 6 blocks of basic knowledge that should be developed, of course, in different contexts to let the learning be different in varied situations, so to be more complete. And this competence at the end contribute to build a true body language, which goes far behind the simpler motor skills. These are the blocks, the main blocks that in the program, and of course the knowledge is put to the practice to the teacher's discretion through all these blocks. The problems in Spain now, the main problem in Spain is that they have very few time to prepare these programs. The law was published in August, and the classes start in September. And of course, the contents, the structures become a little bit more complex, but the time for PE in primary is still the same. And like in all countries, the physical education teachers training in primary schools is not so high. They only need 40 credits. This was the main things in Spain. Speaking about Italy, CAPDI is the confederation of the local association spread in all Italy. And this year, for the first year, we have a qualified physical education teacher in primary school, only for the last year of primary school. This is a big extraordinary experimentation for this year, and it will be also for the next year, going with the 9 and 10 years old student for the next year. This has created a lot of job vacancies, because it creates a lot of works, because now in Italy they need 2,600 full-time PE teacher, almost 2,000 part-time PE teacher, but there is not an official selection. So all those teachers will be substitutions. They will not have a full-time job, not yet, until they will not do this national selection. And then, of course, there should be a specific primary PE university preparation. So CAPD, that is the National Association, try to prepare those people as much as possible, organizing webinars, writing some books specific for primary school, also some practical seminars, 50 video lessons for the members of our association, and then of course primary PE meetings with university students, because also the university is recognized the needs of a specific preparation for those people. And the main problem to solve in Italy are that those people are hiring without a permanent contract. There will be so much need that maybe next year they will be hired also students in PE. And the law says also that should be up to 2 hours, but instead we would like that the law should clearly state that each week should be 2 hours mandatory of PE. And then there are more legal and economical small problem to solve, but I don't have time to this now. So let me go to SNEP. SNEP is the National Trade Union of Physical Education Teachers in France. And one of the strong points in primary PE education is that the primary education aims to work towards the democratization of sport and artistic culture. So, together with quality of PE, the objective in education in France will give students the power to act for their future. The weak points, which are that the success of all of this in achieving this goal is quite difficult, and to achieve this, sport should integrate a diversity of practice, including leisure activity, especially in primary school, and the sport should not be taken here in a sole definition of high performance. Anyway, another strong point in the primary PE in France is that up to 50% of pupils can participate in sports in regular meetings every Wednesday afternoon. So there is a great number of pupils who participate to this appointment. The weak point is that those number of participants drops in when they go in a high school. Then another problem is the pressure of the so-called core subject, like we all know, like maths and French, this tend to lower the number of hours of practice in primary school. And so the government proposed 30 minutes for children in the classroom. And those 30 minutes, slowly, progressively, are replacing by the intervention of the clubs and not by a qualified physical education teacher. Then the last main weak point is the recent abolition of the national assessment at the end of the lower and upper school. This national test set the same standard and requirement for all students, regardless the different place where they live or which school they attend or the teacher they have. So the SNEP is proposing more practice and those national tests. Speaking about primary PE, in primary we got two national associations, and the main these two national associations collaborating together, advocacy, primary PE, and they are mapping also the situation of primary PE in Portugal and sharing good practice. So they are the main intervention right now is creating the condition to recovery after the COVID-19. So trying to overpass this not activity that was in that time, and guarantee access to PE for all primary level school students. The Portuguese legislation says that 5 hours per week should be for artistic education, dance, theater, music, and PE. So at the end, in reality, primary PE students in Portugal, they do almost 1 hour per week or less. Those are the main topics of the curriculum, divided in first, second, and third, and fourth year. And the future of Portugal primary PE is to promote awareness of an increasing specific training in PE curricular component, and again the national assessing testing for primary PE curriculum, because this give equal learning opportunities to all students. Because, in this you can see, this national test in a way give the visibility, more visibility of pedagogical implementation, more visibility to the curricular implementation of the program, is help to find the lack of material in some school, and increment and focus of good practice in the national curriculum. And this was all about the 5 countries that I represent. I was quick, but I hope to have done give a quite good overall problem and situation of the countries.
Thank you, Vivian. I think you also mentioned one thing that was important, is that even if we have PE teacher teaching at the primary school, not all of the PE teachers are prepared and educated for the primary school students. So this is a question also that we have to maybe to keep in mind.
Yes.
So, thank you very much. So we go.
Rosemary, you are mute.
Thank you very much. Now, so we go back to the, I would say probably to the good and the positive exchange, because I'm sure that in every region we have good practice to suggest, and maybe a way to solution also to the other one. So we'll start with Peter this time, please.
Okay, thank you again for the floor. Can you see the screen, please, with the circle? Okay.
Yes, yes.
We see the screen.
Well,
the circle is a bit 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 slides.
Yeah, and this was meant like this. Well, my best practice example needs a little bit short theoretical introduction. How we look at curriculum at this time when we are revising the curriculum documents in the Czech Republic. Well, usually when you speak about curriculum, or it was in the past in the Czech Republic, the main focus was put on the dimension of objective, on the goals of physical education, and then content. And we were a little bit forgetting about the 2 dimensions on the bottom of the circle, the methodological dimension and organizational dimension. And this is kind of a new approach in the Czech Republic now. We are much more concentrating also on the 2 dimensions that are in the lower part of the circle that presents the whole curriculum in the Czech Republic, as we understand it now in the Czech Republic, which means that in the curriculum revision, we not only look at what should be done and what should be the goal, but much more concentrate on how it should be done, how it should be assessed, and how it should be organized. So the methods and forms, organizational forms, are very much in center of our interest. And so, for example,
Peter, it seems like you're showing your first slide to us. It should be maybe the fifth one.
I see.
Yes.
I
we
see.
see it, but very small. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Heidi. What did say?
So what about now?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
So very shortly, I will say the same as I said, because this is important. But you can see the circle of what curriculum means in the for us theoreticals in curriculum development. And as I said in the past, we very much concentrate in the curriculum documents on the dimension of objectives, what should be the goal of physical education, and what should be the content. We described actually almost only the content of curriculum of education, of physical education, and we did not pay too much attention in the curriculum discussion on the methodological dimension and on the organizational dimension. And this is something that is different now. And in the curriculum discussion, those two dimensions in the bottom of the circle are very much of our interest these days, which means that the curriculum discussion discusses, for example, more responsibility of children during the classes, more active involvement of pupils on teaching and learning and on evaluation, more organizational student approaches than it was in the past, more working in groups or teamwork, less mass teaching, as I would say, more individual and of course much more formative evaluation, and more active learning methods. So these are the methodological and organizational approaches that actually are stressed more in the curriculum discussion, and also they are part of curriculum documents, or also of the concept of physical education concept. It wasn't like that in the past. As I said, in the past, the concept of physical education described mainly the dimension of objectives, what are the goals, and what should be the content, but didn't stress the methods and forms. And so, for example, an example of good practice can present this picture, how to get the children to think, to increase their literacy concerning physical education. So, for example, there is a boy lost on a tower, and there can be a group of students or just one student on a safe place. And imagine that the child has got some stuff to save the boy from the other side. And now imagine that you put in the middle of the classroom or the gym different tools and for the physical activity, and the children can act as if they are saving the boy from the tower, using, for example, the basic locomotion as we know it, like, for example, throw the rope, and they can throw it. The rope can be thick or thin, so they can learn how to throw a thick rope or a thin rope. They can, for example, put a beam from one side to the other, so that they would practice balancing. They can roll, for example, something big to get the boy from the tower, and so on. So and then they discuss it. They can compare, for example, if they work in teams, and each team can come up with different idea, and then they can swap, of course, the stations, so that they can, for example, at one spot they can practice throwing, and at the other spot they can, for example, practice balancing, and so on. So I just wanted to explain how the active involvement of children can be presented, and then they, of course, they can shoot a video from this and then compare the videos after class, after the PE class, and so on. So they can work with the material after that as well. So if it is enough, this is one of good example that I've chosen for as an example of good practice, I think, leading to physical literacy.
Thank you very much. Thank you also for introducing the physical literacy here, because I think if we see this concept like this, it will drive us to the physical literacy and the different domain as well. So thank you very much. This is one thing that we could, but for next time, discuss how we can link the two different concepts as well. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you. So we go to Viviana this time. Sorry, Viviana, for before.
Yes, no problem. About next best practice, I should have chosen between Spain, Malta, France, Italy. It was very difficult for me because there are some ideal situations in each country, depending of school, of region. There are some there. So then I decide, and I will share my screen. Then I decide to just highlight that of course the optimum could be that all the countries in our regions would like to have a qualified physical education teacher in primary school right from the beginning, from the beginning of the school, and should be the right curriculum with a good assessment, and maybe we can find this good solution, best practice in all of each association of physical education teachers. So we are CNAPEF, SPEF, CNAPEF, SPEF, CAPDI, Consejo, COLEF, and of course, if you go through all those websites, you can find a lot of best practice, and more of all in EUPEA, where there is a special sections where you can see all the European projects with all the best practice in PE. So I was quick, but I'm sure that if all people who are watching this this webinar takes 5 times to see, for example, the Irish website, the Italian website, there are lots of materials, lot of lessons, lot of material, lot of theoretical things to see, to check, to study, and so you have only to save a little bit of time and go through all these websites.
Thank you, Vivi. I think this is also one thing that we wanted without pretension, but we thought also that in all the region we have some good practice, and we would like to share and give also our colleagues who are not maybe so close with EUPEA or member of EUPEA or not, the chance to have access to this material. I think we have a lot of things. We still need a lot of work, but I think we already have quite a good example. This is correct. Yeah. Thank you very much for this reminding us of this material that we have on at our disposal. So I would like to give the floor to Yanis, please, for one good example.
Thank you, Rosemary. I had spoken several examples of good practices before, and I believe that with my experience of 30 years in primary schools, we must have in our mind that in these grades the students must do a lot of the things that we don't believe them. Finally, we believe that we must advocate all these changes in all hierarchy, in school and directors, parents, PE directions in the ministry, minister, deputy minister of education, members of a parliament, members of the European Parliament, in order to have quality physical education in all levels. We must try to have at least 3 hours in all grades of a primary schools. And an example from today, I have visited my school today for my grandson because he has an exhibition about swimming in the pool. The students are very excellent. They swim in the pool from first grade. And I was very surprised about it, and all parents about it. And that is the advocacy of a PE teacher in the primary schools. Finally, I believe that we should also work on the rights and the position of PE teachers in terms to be qualified and motivated to do work. Only qualified and motivated teachers can bring changes and provide quality in PE. Thank you.
Thank you, Yanis. And I think you also speak about this advocacy, like Heidi did. I think when we have the objective, is not only about the PE, the quality PE as the content, as a discipline in the school, in the curricula, but we need also to advocate and to be close and to have those political. I think this is a political mission that we have, because we need to change sometimes the political decision, and I think this is one thing that we sometimes forget. As you say, this is the political part, the educational one, the parents as well in the school. So I think this is also a very important point, that we don't forget that we also need to convince the politician. And how do we do it? It's not always so easy, but this is important to go for it.
I agree with it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Heidi, please. This is your turn.
Thank you. I would like to continue from what I told you as a challenge earlier. So when I talked about the trying to guide the students toward an active lifestyle and also inner motivation for being active, it becomes a challenge when if there is a teacher who is not methodologically or pedagogically very skilled, or in a way putting emphasis in the positive feedback or improving the students' enjoyment in the lesson. So what we have done in all school systems lately is we have recognized that in the past there has been in children's education and in upbringing in general, there has been this not so positive way of giving feedback to students. And we have tried to, in overall teaching in all the schools in Finland, to focus on the education of the teachers in that way, that giving feedback is one of the most important things. And also getting feedback from peers is also important for the students, so that they can build their own self-confidence, knowing and noticing that there are many ways of getting feedback, and there's always a possibility to develop own skills, and through that develop their own sense of competence. And that in PE seems to be something that these generalist teachers are very good at. So I'm finding that there are some strengths that we can also learn from as PE teachers from them. And I find that in order to make a student a lifelong learner and to enjoy exercise, which is a challenge these days in this sedentary lifestyle in the Western world, we need to bring them these positive emotions and positive feelings in different situations in PE lessons. And this teacher training and this idea of giving versatile feedback to the students might be one of the keys, I feel, in the future to help them develop this positive image of themselves as learners and also feeling competence.
Thank you very much, Heidi. Yes, and I think it was also important to say that our generalists are a good teacher.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are not well prepared to teach physical education, but they have competence and they have quality. And I think in some country, sometimes we could find good practice, maybe giving some support to the generalist with PE teacher for the really physical education. But they are teachers and they have those qualities. So maybe it was important that we don't forget this, and that we work together also to reach the goal that we would like to have for the young people, the actual one. So thank you very much for this remark as well. And now for Suzanne, you have the floor, the last one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm showing you here the Irish Primary PE Association website, because there's two resources here. One is a recent podcast that has just been uploaded that is debating the successes and challenges of the primary curriculum framework for primary and special schools that has just been launched. So Ireland had the record for the oldest curriculum in Europe, 1999, until the consultation began in 2019. It was stalled with COVID. However, we are delighted to say that we are now at the stage where there is a framework, but we need to now assess what are the successes and challenges and the implications of this for physical education. And I just want to highlight a few issues because I think they've all been touched on here. And I was particularly interested with Peter with the reforms in Czechoslovakia. So what will PE look like? Well, similar to Scottish practice, in a couple of years ago, PE was rehoused into well-being and health in Scotland. And it looks like PE is, not looks like, it is happening, that PE is going to be rehoused in well-being in Ireland. And it is going to be co-hosted with social and personal health education. A success is that there is a considerable amount of increased time going to be given to PE and social, personal health education. But one of the challenges will be what generalist teachers, when they are teaching, will they teach more PE or more social health and personal education? So what will the freedom will be given to the teachers, but what will PE look like? A key competency will be being well. And PE is going to fall under being well. And again, will that be physical activity? Will it be sport? Will it be physical education? And the agency is going to be given to teachers to respond to the children's needs based on their interests, their curiosities, and their local environments. So there's going to be a lot of agency given to teachers to develop bespoke programs, and we're a little bit unsure what will PE look like with this. Another key element that has been proposed is integrating it. So there's no fear that the generalist teacher is going to be gone from Irish schools. They're going to be expected to integrate PE and other subjects together. But we believe that one of the challenges will be that the generalist teachers will need deep knowledge before they're able to integrate. And they are going to need a lot of supports with this, and particularly initial teacher education. You know, there's going to be a lot of supports needed. Another key element is partnerships. And again, partnerships can be handing over your lesson to the sports coach, or will it be genuine partnership? And we believe that genuine partnership, that the teacher may be supported, but it must be the generous teachers who drives the program and the teaching and be there for all the children, and not handing over lessons to external providers. Dance is going to become a part of arts education, which I found interesting that in Portugal it's part of artistic education. In Ireland, it's going to no longer sit with PE. And one last element I want to mention here is it's PE, or the EUPEA framework, is promoting playful and engaging learning experiences. And that could be a success or it could be a challenge. Playful could be a free for all or busy and good in PE. So we've got to protect what physical education is going to look like going forward in these challenges that we are facing now in Ireland. So as I can say, there can be a success and there can be challenges within it. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I think it will be challenged for all of us. I'm quite sure, because this is never sure. This is never sure, because sometimes because we don't have enough money, sometimes because, as you said, the other discipline needs more time, or they think they need more time, or they don't see why physical education is so important. But I think we have to continue to reflect on this, and for me also maybe to think of those situations that we find, as you said, supporting and is collaborating and cooperating. Is not that somebody is coming and give a lesson and just go, and the other one don't give those lessons because maybe she or he is not well prepared enough. I think we still have to work on it. Or we have in Europe also other models that works quite well, but we have to adapt them in all the different regions. We already saw today that even in the region, between the countries, we had quite big differences. So this is also something that we can keep, but because this is also the richness of our group. This is that we can learn from, I think, from each other. And as I said, I appreciate that Peter was speaking about also physical literacy. Maybe this is also a way to show the importance of this PE in the school, showing the link with the different other literacy. So it could be one possibility to think about it. I don't know if we have participants who would like to have to ask a question. The floor is open now for everybody. I don't see anyone. Thank you for the one. We had some questions, so we will. I could answer to some of them. I will make sure that everybody get the answer. We had one question about the number of answers that we got. It was not much, 29 countries, but 42 answers only. So this is not much. This is why I say that this is not something that we can see as relevant for the number, but interesting as an indication. I think this was already one.
Rosemary, João Costa can speak now, so okay. João Costa, you can.
Sure.
Sorry, it was by mistake that I raised my hand. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Bruno. Sorry, Rosemary.
No problem.
No problem. We are happy that you are here. So this is good. But I don't know, maybe one of the panel, if you would like to complete something or say something, or maybe make a proposal for the next step. We are open also for this. Not really. Then I will give the floor to Bruno for the last part, and also to thank him for the logistic and the technical part, because he's in Paris taking care of us all over Europe. So thank you very much, Bruno.
Thank you, Rosemary. So yeah, you're right. The first observation what we can do is about the statement made in the questionnaire. Well, it's not always a reality, and so it's not always easy to recognize the timetable, for example, are not respected. So we want to give tonight in this physical education talk a view about the situation for the physical education in primary school, but in several answers, we did not pretend to translate the reality. So it's important, I think so, to work, and perhaps it's a big challenge for EUPEA and other organizations who work with us to have a true overview about the situation in physical education. We have some tools now, also did in the EUPEA project, but perhaps now we have to use it and try to have this overview about all the countries in Europe and to try to challenge after and work on it. Second point, and we have many times this kind of discussion about we have generalist or specific teacher to develop the physical education. I think so. Perhaps what we can say is it's the main importance is to have trained and competent teacher, perhaps generalist, perhaps specific, depending on the country. But the main important point is how we can work to train them and to try to develop the different skill of the teacher to work with the children. Why not also sometimes to have one of the teacher who could be a reference and work with the other or deal with the other teacher and try to develop the physical education. So there is a lot of question also about the vocabulary, because today a lot of politicians use the different vocabulary, physical activity, sport, physical education. They try to say, yeah, we develop sport in the school, but in fact, they would like to develop the sport link with the club in the school and not the physical education. And when you ask them, they say, oh, it's the same things. But in the fact, they are not the same things. One way is the physical education did by the PE teacher or generalist teacher. And the way is to develop the sport directly with the club, with other aim, with other objective, with other idea behind the development. I think so now about EUPEA, we have another appointment. It's at the end of June. We have another multiply sport events linked with one of our project, Erasmus Plus project. And at the end of June, we can continue to work about the physical education in primary school. Especially, there is one question about disability children and with the special needs. There is also solutions and idea of how we can develop and work with these children. This first step of the physical education talk about primary school, we can continue and perhaps write a special text or something idea to have all the good practice and perhaps also how we can advocate to develop the physical education. So thank you very much for all the people who will participate tonight to this physical education talk. And we can give you another appointment at the end of June to continue and try to build together a program, a plan to try to develop the physical education in primary school, in all the school in all the Europe. Thank you for all. Thank you for all our speakers in the presentation, and for sure for Rosemary to do the lead of this meeting tonight. Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.